ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। हरि ओम, salutations to all. So welcome to the study of the 16th chapter of the Gita. This chapter is called Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yogaha. So this is about the divine and the demonic qualities. The word sampad. So pad, padyate means to obtain. And so sampadyate, when we say, it means to obtain well. What can we obtain? Divine or demonic qualities we can obtain. Through that we can obtain many other things in the world. But in this context it means that as human beings we have a choice. Yes, we are carrying forward some things of our past, no doubt. To exhaust certain karmas we have taken a form here. But here we have a free will. We have choice as human beings. And my actions can be influenced by my past, but I can change and I don't have to fall for the past patterns of thinking. That is the free will. So the 16th chapter is like a though it comes at the fag end of the Gita, 15 chapters have already completed, but it is like a very important foundation which if one studies, one will understand even the first chapter of the Gita properly. The divine qualities are seen in Arjun and the demonic qualities are seen in Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana in the first chapter of the Gita. Which is why Akhandanandji says, if you read this chapter first and then you read the first chapter, it will become easy to understand and you will be able to see clearly the play of the divine and the demonic. Uniqueness of this chapter is what? Here we find, see, many places in the Gita there are set of values which are given. But here, along with set of values, we also find the traits of ego and how the ego pulls us down. The demonic traits are given much more elaborately here in this chapter, so that we can become aware and we don't fall for it, or if we are already a victim of it, we learn to come out of it. Now values are given in different places, but what is the important need of values? At simple level, if we have values in our daily life, we are anchored in values and we live the higher values, they become the virtues, and these values and virtues they help us to manifest our true potential. Gurudev used to say that living a value-based life is like building a dam across the river. So what happens when a dam is built across the river? The flow of the river is very fast. The water is there. So much of gallons and gallons of water is just flowing. It has tremendous power. When a dam is built, that power can be harnessed. Same way, values will help us to harness the power of the mind. Simple example, suppose we say I am very prompt. That promptness, how much more efficiency, how much more work and contacts and goodwill, all that it builds, brings success, brings praise, appreciation, all that. Versus I don't follow that value. Lazy, lethargic, why not, why today, tomorrow I will do. Can't achieve great things. Fearlessness helps a person to take risk, go beyond comfort zone. Calculated risk, obviously, achieve great things. If one is always scared, doesn't want to take any risk, always remains inside comfort zone, potential can't manifest. Like that, you see any value, punctuality or generosity or forgiveness, sense control. So we have to see values as they are very essential to manifest the potential in the world. Two, they are very essential for healthy, happy, harmonious relationships. We want to be associating with people who are honest, who are transparent, who are loving, kind, compassionate, forgiving, straightforward. We want to have such company, right? Then we also have to have those values. Somebody is cunning, manipulative, deceptive, false, telling lies, are not trustworthy. One doesn't want to have company of such people. So values help us to be loving, kind, be good in relationships and experience that human interaction will become enriching then. Somehow the values have become, people think it is binding, limiting, inhibiting. It will not make me successful. It will make me nerd. It will make me look very orthodox. It will inhibit my progress. If others are not following values, why should I follow values? So if one thinks like that, then one wants to take shortcuts. One wants to be so-called worldly smart, learn how to deceive people, be cunning, be manipulative and get your way. It may work in a short run, but it will not work in the long run. So, one is potential should manifest, relationships will become more happier. I would have at least the satisfaction that I am a good person. My self-esteem, values also are very, very powerful indicators, as well as they are powerful expressions. When a person is very confident, it is because of the base of values. If I am not able to follow values, my willpower will be weak, confidence will be low. The more values I follow, the more stronger the mind is, the more confident I will be. Even if something wrong happens, even if some injustice is there, I have the strength to face it because I have the strength of values, because I have fearlessness, because I have done what needs to be done. So values help us in our confidence, in our strength. values are very important in the spiritual path also. Without values, one can't progress in the spiritual path. One may do all kinds of cunningness, manipulation, cheat, loot, plunder, attain wealth, and then on the other hand do lot of right ritual, go to some temple, do some dan, do some CSR, do all that. This is not going to offset. Each karma brings its own karma phala. So the good things will bring their karma phala, the negative things will bring their karma phala. They are not going to mutually cancel. So if somebody thinks I can do whatever I feel like and I will get away with it by doing some charity, by doing some Ganga Snan, by doing some japa, it will not work like that. I have to learn to drop the negative and follow the path of the values or dharma. Otherwise it will be like the example Shankaracharya ji gives, it will be like the donkey carrying the golden bricks. A donkey doesn't know the value of golden bricks. I may have a lot of knowledge, I may have a lot of success, achievements, all that. Anchoring in values is not there. Spiritual progress cannot happen. And when anchoring in values is there, I may have nothing much outside, but I will still progress spiritually and realize the truth. So values play a very, very important role in the symbolism of Bhagavan Shiva. Now Shivratri is coming up on 15th. Bhagavan rides on the bull, Nandi. So bull is symbol of dharma. And dharma, one meaning there is values, duties, righteousness. When we follow those in our life, then our mind becomes the bull, the Vahan, for Bhagavan Shiva to preside over it. And we realize our oneness with Shiva Tattva. So values are very, very, very crucial. And it is these values which prepare the mind for contemplation also. If somebody wants to know the truth, the only way to know the truth is surrender to Bhagavan or contemplate steadily, or both. But both these cannot happen if a person doesn't have proper values. Many times when one sits to contemplate, meditate, what happens? The mind wanders all over because it is not trained nor is it anchored in good values. The mind which is anchored in good values will spontaneously turn within, realize the truth. Bhagwan's grace will bring whatever satsang, guru, everything in the life, the person will be able to do sadhana and move ahead. So one should never underestimate the values. Never think that if everybody is not following, why should I follow? It is our journey. Now here, the 16th chapter, why does Bhagavan take this up suddenly? He was doing, he was explaining Purushottam Yoga, 15th chapter, in that he spoke about Uttam Purusha. And before that, all the description of the Samsara Vriksha and all that. Why did he suddenly take up now these values? The seed of this is in the 7th chapter as well as 9th chapter. If you see, in that 7th chapter, Bhagavan said, Namam dushkritino mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya apahrita jnanaha asuram bhavam ashritaha. So he says, those who are deluded, mudhaha, namam dushkritinaha, and because of that delusion they are doing evil actions, troubling people, looting them, doing some kind of all kinds of scams, cheating people, manipulating them, all wrong things, even doing violence. He says dushkritino and mudha, deluded and evil actions those who are doing, na prapadyante naradhamaha, they are the lowest of human beings. Why? Mayaya apahrita jnanaha, their knowledge has been as though stolen by Maya. In Maya in this context means their own nature, their own lower nature. It doesn't mean Bhagwan's Maya. Don't say, Maya ne kar diya Swami ji, to abhi inka kya dosh. No, no. Maya here means their own inner temperament. They didn't make the right choices. Maya apahrita jnanaha. That's why it says asuram bhavam ashritaha. And they have taken refuge in the asuri bhav. Now when Bhagwan said this, he continued further, and in the 9th chapter he again mentions 2 verses where we see here that verse number 12 and 13. These verse number 12 and 13, these 2 verses, they are the seed for the 16th chapter, 9th chapter verse 12 and 13. What are those verses? Mogha sha mogha karmanaha mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasi masurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. So Bhagwan says that here are people who are having vain desires, moghasha. Vain desire meaning, moha literally means delusion. To see the right as the wrong and the wrong as the right. That is called moha. Where there is pain, I am seeing pleasure in that. Where there is pleasure, I am seeing pain in that. That is called moha. For Arjun to fight the war was appearing painful and wrong choice, and to run away was appearing pleasing and the right choice. That is moha. By the end of the Gita, he got the clarity. And he says, Nashto moha smritir labdha. This moha delusion of mine is gone. Same way in our life, so many vain desires. When I drink alcohol, then I feel I have arrived. Arey moghasha. I am a man, I am superior to women. Women should always be, subservient to man. And I will ensure that happens. Moghasha, mogha karma. Mogha jnana. False knowledge, vain knowledge, vain desires, vain actions. So moghasha, mogha karmanaha, mogha jnana vichetasaha. Completely deluded. Then rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. They are completely under the spell of their own lower tendencies. And 2 are given here, rakshasi and asuri. So there is rakshasi prakriti and asuri prakriti. So what are they? They are daivi prakriti, when we say deva and asura. So even this 16th chapter is called Daiva Asura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. So in this we find one more classification is given, a little more detail is added. So Daivi Prakriti is Sattva Guna, Asuri Prakriti is Rajo Guna, and Rakshasi Prakriti is Tamo Guna. The Asuri Prakriti further devolves into Rakshasi Prakriti. Now again, this is only a broad classification. Don't think that Rajoguna by itself is Rakshasi, please. Rajoguna, as we have seen in 14th chapter, Rajoguna is having the dynamism to work, act, achieve, have goals, do work, become successful. Nothing wrong with that. The binding part of Rajoguna is this attachment, which makes one compromise from dharma. Then one becomes Asuri. And so, which further devolves, where this person will do all kinds of adharmic things also, totally hurtful to oneself and to others. That is Rakshasi. The difference between Asuras and Rakshasas, in some ways, if we want to distinguish, So Asuras are children of Diti and Kashyap Rishi, and Devatas are children of Aditi and Kashyap Rishi. The Devatas and Asuras constantly have battle. They are as though enemies of each other. Danavas are children of Danu. So Daityas or Asuras, Diti's children are called Daitya also, and they are only Asuras. So Daityas or Asuras and Danavas, this group constantly fights against the Devatas. They want heaven, they want power, they will do tapasya, they will get benefits from, blessings from whichever Bhagwan they are worshipping, and then they will become powerful, they will attack, they will have mainly their enmity is against Indra and the Devatas. So they want to control that. They want to take over the heaven, they want enjoyment. The Rakshasas are further devolved. Rakshasas they have enmity against humans also, they will trouble human beings also, they will disturb the rishis. So this Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, these are all, they may be Asura at some point, they fall down to Rakshasa level also. So they will hurt and harm human beings also, they will have mainly, enmity, they will come on the earth also. Devatas and Danavas and Asuras, they live in their realms and they keep fighting in the subtler realms. Now what is the point here for us to understand? The point to understand here is the two tendencies, Rakshasi, Asuri, is what Bhagavan is saying here. Rakshasim, Asurim Chaiva, Prakritim, Mohinim Shritaha. These are under the Mohini Prakriti, which will delude. And every human being faces temptations on one hand, where one can compromise, one can drop values, one can fall from the human dignity and do anything for sense enjoyment, for money, for power. Or one can say, no, I am not going to fall for this, I will be anchored in virtues and values, because that is the path to realization, that is the path which will make me light, fearless, happy. I don't want to go the wrong path, because it is my journey finally. I only have to face my own karma. Such people, they are opposite of this Rakshasi Asuri. And the 13th verse, Bhagavan says, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti mashritaha. So Mohini Prakriti and Daivi Prakriti. Mohini Prakriti, those who fall for, they are called Rakshasas and Asuras. Daivi Prakriti, those who follow, they are called Mahatmas here. Now Mahatma here doesn't mean only some sadhu Mahatma. Mahatma here meaning one whose vision has expanded. Mahatma literally means Mahan Atma Yasya Saha. One who thinks that there is only one self, Madatma Sarvabhutatma. The truth is one, which is in the same in the hearts of all. And to experience that truth in one's own heart and to serve that same truth in the hearts of all, one follows values. Daivi Prakriti, they have taken refuge of that. See, the shloka is very beautiful. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. They have taken refuge of that, meaning they will be anchored in the divine values. And what will they do by anchoring in the divine values? Bhagavan says so nicely, Bhajanti ananya manasaha. With single pointedness they worship me. The purpose of values is that we are not following values only for benefits in the world. That it may bring, and as we said, one feels more happy, people are able to relate better with us, we are able to have more, pleasant experiences. And some challenges come, then we have strength to face. So values have one relevance, but the deeper relevance in the spiritual life is single pointedly one is able to think of Bhagavan. Feel bhakti, feel the bhavana of surrender, experience ecstasy, divine bliss. Bhajanti ananya manasaha. Jnatva bhutadim avyayam, having known Bhagwan as the source of everything. This knowledge that is given can be experienced only when the mind is in this Daivi Prakriti. Otherwise, one may read Aham Brahmasmi, one may quote, one may say Tattvamasi, all that. Nothing will happen. If one is not living the higher values, one is compromising, one is increasing body identification, one is a victim of sense enjoyments, and one compromises with dharma for all that. So now when Bhagwan has explained these two, Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. These people, they can be seekers, they can be bhaktas, they may be sometimes not even knowing that they are formally walking the spiritual path, but they follow good values in their life and they are doing their duties. Bhagwan says, such people, they will definitely come to me, they will become one with me. So now when Bhagwan mentioned this in the 9th chapter, he goes on to explain now in the 16th chapter elaborately, because in between Arjuna asked many other questions. So Bhagwan was answering each of those questions. Now all those questions have got answered. So now Bhagwan says, I will come back to that point of mine which I need to elaborate. And so this 16th chapter begins with the description of the divine values. First he takes up the divine. In 3 verses he will complete the divine, because he has already explained earlier also in many places in the Gita. 13th chapter we saw, 14th chapter also we saw, 5th chapter it is there, 2nd chapter it is there. Different places the context is different. Bhakta Lakshan 12th chapter we saw. So some repetition will be there, no doubt. But what is important to know is, we should identify, just because there are so many value sets given in the Gita doesn't mean कि अब बहुत सारी values है, अब हम क्या follow करें, so I follow nothing. The problem with us is that so many spiritual sadhanas are there, so which sadhana do you do? I don't do because I know many spiritual sadhanas are there. Arey, you choose one. Does one ever go and say, you go to a marriage and you see one side there is continental food, one side there is chaat counter, and one side there is Italian food, and one side there is live counter of whatever, they are making pasta and dosa and Chinese noodles and all that. What do? Do you go and say, इतनी सारी varieties हैं, मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं खा सकती? No. One will choose, okay, I like this, I go there, eat that and move. I take some from everything, eat. So we have excuses. Many people, they will say, Swamiji, we should have one sadhana, one God, one book, one form, and everybody should be able to do that. That is how we will become strong as Hindus. We have so many books, so many forms, so many sadhanas. That is why, we are not able to follow our practices. That is not the problem. Problem is we are not choosing. And problem is our thinking. Variety is never a problem. Everywhere variety is there or not. And you have to choose. Why will I choose? Because I know its importance. So in 3 verses, Bhagwan gives certain values, which if we cultivate, the mind will become purified. And Bhagwan will say also that these values are for liberation. After he narrates these values, then he will say, Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya asuri mataha. That these divine qualities are to liberate us. They are not to bind us. We may think कि अरे हर रोज सुबह उठना पड़ता है, ध्यान करना पड़ता है, सेवा करनी पड़ती है, साधना करनी पड़ती है, निस्वार्थ जीवन में जीना है. क्या है स्वामी जी, उनका लाइफ देखो, आराम से सोते हैं, कब जब चाहे उठते हैं, जो चाहे करते हैं. क्या लाइफ है? सी हाउ इज दैट लाइफ? सो नाइस. Ah, my life is so difficult. I have to live in such self-control. Why? If you are a seeker, you love the spiritual path, you know the importance of it, you happily do it. One is not going to sit and compare, saying, "Arey, unka life dekho." Well, you find joy in the sadhana you are doing, happily you will get up and do. When you experience the joy of anand, joy of dhyan, joy of niswat seva, the joy of bhakti, the joy of reflection, happily one will do it. That joy will come when there is values. And so these values, when I live, I will experience the higher joy. It won't be binding. It will actually liberate. In fact, if my mind is not able to find joy in some of these things, then I have to identify which are the values here which I am not living. Where am I attached? What are the wrong notions in my mind? That fine tuning has to happen. Then you will find sadhana also brings so much of happiness. All Vishayananda is nothing in comparison to the joy of, whether it is japa or puja or bhajan or dhyan. Blissful it is. Even Niswata Seva, so much of joy. So values are for liberation and they will prepare me for liberation. That's why he says Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya. Nibandhaya Asuri Mataha. The Asuri and Rakshasi Sampadas. They will bind. They will bring us down. They will keep us tied to the cycle of birth and death. Daivi Sampad will release us from cycle of birth and death. So now with this background, we will get into the chapter. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Shodashodhyayah Shri Bhagavan Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. 3 verses, first, second, third of this chapter. If you are able to memorize, memorize. These are set of values. And when we are sitting for our prayer, when our mind is quiet, if we slowly repeat these values and suggest to the mind that these are the values which I want to follow, I live by these values. Even if you feel some of these values are important to you, choose those and then tell that to the mind. Okay, this is non-negotiable for me. I will live by this no matter what. Adjustment is a different thing. Compromise should not be done. So, once you read these values, then you will see the first chapter. If you go back, how Arjun displays so many of these values in the first chapter as well as in Mahabharata itself. Then from fourth verse onwards, we will see the demonic qualities. Then you will be able to see, Arey, this Duryodhan had this, Dhritarashtra had this. So, it is for us to recognize in them, recognize even in us. Now what does Bhagavan say here? 16th chapter, Bhagavan begins by saying Abhayam, fearlessness. Sattva Samshuddhi. Sattva here means mind actually. One can say Sattva Guna also if one wants to, but technically it means mind here because mind has to be purified. Sattva Guna will help to purify the mind. So that way one can even say Sattva Samshuddhi is purification through Sattva. Otherwise it literally means Sattva here is mind. Why it is mind? Because in Upanishads also, in Veda itself, the word Sattva is used for mind. Like in Chandogya Upanishad it will come, Ahara Shuddhav Sattva Shuddhihi. If you purify the food, the intake, if we purify that, Ahara Shuddhav, Sattva Shuddhi, mind will be purified. So there Sattva means mind. So Sattva, first quality is fearlessness. abhayam. Then sattva samshuddhi, purification of the mind. Then third, jnana yoga vyavasthitihi, abidance in the knowledge what I am listening. Specifically here it means knowledge of Vedant, but even otherwise in a general context, if we say what I am convinced by, I should be able to live that. Jnana yoga vyavasthiti, knowing and doing, gap should not be there. We know smoking is bad for health, but we still smoke. Then there is no jnana yoga vyavasthiti. Detail I will see, each one we will take, but first we will enumerate. Fearlessness, purification of the mind, abidance in the knowledge, abhayam sattva samshuddhi, jnana yoga vyavasthiti, danam, generosity and sharing what abundance I have. Dama is sense control. Yajna is selfless service, dedicating it to the higher. Danam damascha yajnascha. Swadhyaya, study, self-study. Tapa, live in austerity. And arjavam is straightforwardness. 9 qualities are there. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi, jnana yoga vyavasthiti, danam damascha yajnascha, swadhyaya tapa arjavam. 9 qualities one can memorize. And it is interesting that it may look like that. So 26 qualities will come here. It will look like, oh, there are 26 qualities, but they all are interconnected. If we cultivate one, another 2 will come. So they are very nicely interrelated, interconnected. So it's not very, very difficult to cultivate. Now we'll go one by one. See, these qualities are meant not only for spiritual progress, daily life, but some of these qualities you can apply even in leadership, in management, in working with people, in a family. Anywhere one can apply these. Very, very beautiful set of values. They will help to develop one's leadership potential also, leadership qualities also. Manifest those traits. Nowadays people have so many things on ethics, values, governance. These are those things. So now first one, Bhagavan says abhayam. Divine quality is fearlessness. How nice. If you see human life, how much fear we live by. All types of fear one has. See, one is biological fear, and that is sometimes necessary to protect the human being, and in fact that is there in every creature. Fear is a drive which is there in every creature for survival, for self-protection. But human being can get out of fear, both biological as well as psychological fear one can get out of. Biological fear is where one has fear of hurt, accident, disease, death, physical sorrow, suffering, that biological fear. Psychological fear are what? Emotional fear, intellectual fear, spiritual fear, all these will come under that. So emotional fears, fear of criticism, fear of losing something, fear of not being loved, fear of loneliness, fear of failure, all this when we go through, then emotional fears these are. Intellectual fears one has, fear of not being, one's idea or a project not getting not getting enough support, people criticizing it, people plotting against it. What will people say if I don't achieve such and such success? So fear about people, fear of their opinions, fear of failure, fear of no support, fear of being overpowered, competition, so many of these will be there. Then there's spiritual fear also. Fear of what will happen after death, fear of God. Different types of fear. Fear of what will happen in the world, recession will happen, financial challenges will come, war, violence, so many challenges are there. And there are lots of reasons for fear, there is no doubt. But we as human beings can still live a life of fearlessness by our choice, by equipping ourselves strongly. So, fear is something that we have to overcome. Why has fear to be overcome? Because when there is fear, then we many times because of fear we land up taking a wrong decision. Fear will limit my potential. Many people are not able to start a new venture, start something new, or go out of their comfort zone only because fear of obstacles, fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of ridicule. So many different types of fear. No, I can't do, I can't do, I can't do. Better you try and fail than just say I can't do at all. But how many will take that step? Very few. So fear limits our potential. Fear makes us take a wrong decision. It makes us scared. So body also is not efficient. Intellect loses its clarity. When Arjun was overpowered by attachment, then the fear also came to him. He expressed all that in the first chapter. And once that fear comes, then his decision is what? I will run away. Better it is to live in the forest begging alms than to kill my people. And it appears also very justified. But that's an act of fear. That is a decision taken because of fear. And however logical it may appear to be, it is not. Fear, many of the fears are irrational also. There won't be any logic. I'm just scared. Did you have any reason to be scared? Did you have any experience like that before? Sometimes there is no such experience, no reasoning, but I'm just scared. So fear inhibits our potential, fear makes us take wrong decisions, fear completely debilitates our personality. If we say, body, mind, intellect, if mind has fear, then the body will start sweating, shivering, trembling, one can't be steady. All that we saw in first chapter, Arjun went through that. Physically also, intellectually also. Emotions overwhelmed his thoughts, so he lost his clarity that he is a Kshatriya and he should do the duty to protect dharma. Lost the clarity. This is what fear will do. Fear will affect mind. Fear in the mind will affect both the body and intellect. Same way, fear at the intellect level can affect mind and body. Fear at any one level will affect the other. Then the personality collapses. Then one is not able to be proactive. Then the opportunity goes, one feels guilty, one feels weak, one feels I am incapable, I couldn't do much with this. So it brings lot of other negative thinking. And it continues for a long time. One carries that burden. That is such a heavy burden to carry. And one feels unworthy. If one would have taken that plunge and attempted, this guilt and this burden one would not have carried. Even if one failed in that, doesn't matter, at least one attempted. It can apply to many things. Adventure you go for, and there are people who are, all the safety harness and everything is there, but one is still not going because they're scared, there is fear inside. I don't want to do, I don't want to do, I don't want to do, I can't, I'm weak, I will not be able to handle. That self-talk is negative. Now some people are able to do, they are bold, they are adventurous, they are able to do. Some people are able to go and do in spite of fear. They push themselves, I can do it. It's better to go, have some faith in the people and just go and do it. Even if one is feeling fear, just do it. And then there are some who will not do. They will just carry this, and everybody will try to help them, come on, do it. It's alright, it is this much only, nothing will happen, and they are seeing others also, nothing is happening, still they will have fear. Now one doesn't do it. People will come, they say it's okay, doesn't matter, next time you attempt all that, then they will go away, or sometimes they may tease also, okay, this was so simple, how come you didn't do it? What a scared person you are, or they may tease. But one's own mind will carry that for long, because these people will go away. Now one carries that for long. Nothing, I couldn't do this much also. What a weakling I am. What a useless fellow I am. Now that burden one is carrying for so long. So if I understand this, I have to identify what are the fears in my life which are inhibiting my potential. We are not saying become reckless, don't use any logic, just do anything. We are not saying that. Even if one is, same example if I give of adventure, one should be careful to choose which is the agency, where am I going, let us say bungee jumping or whatever, rappelling, waterfall rappelling, whatever it may be. Do the homework, find out who is the agency, do they have enough safety harnesses, are they reputed, do they have enough, are they reliable, how many, people have done. Do your background research. Simply one can't just go like that. But having done background research, then find out and overcome that fear. Go and do it. Same way, if I want to invest some money, I have to do my homework. Find out, okay, which one should I invest in? Everybody said invest in silver. I invested, Swamiji, now suddenly silver prices are down. Now I lost so much money. Who told you? You apply your brain. Nobody is saying just like that go and do. That is not fearlessness. Reckless is not fearlessness. Not doing homework is not fearlessness. I don't do homework, Swamiji. I just do. Dekha jayega jo hoga. That is stupidity. That is not fearlessness. Do proper homework. Think. So, fearlessness. Why I have to attain fearlessness? Even one fear if I get out of, so much energy is released, so much more confidence, so much more strength. And what all fears are there? Fear of water. People don't want to jump and swim in the water. Fear of public speaking, fear of criticism, fear of losing, all types of different types of fear. One should drop. So, abhayam. Now, when fear comes, what is the first thing to do? General response of fear will be forget everything and run. Escape. I don't want to deal with it. Run from it. Run from that place literally, or run in a psychological sense. Try to escape, try to distract, try to avoid, try to not do it. But fear goes when I face it. So one acronym of fear is forget everything and run. Second acronym of fear is face everything and rise. Face it. Fear can go only when I face. If I escape, if I try to distract my mind, fear can't go. It will become stronger in fact. The more I run away from fear, the weaker I become and the fear becomes stronger. So if I have fear of public speaking, I have to practice public speaking. I have to learn the skill, practice. If I have fear of water, fear of heights, I have to practice. Learn the skill and practice properly. Abhyas is required for it. Jnana and abhyas, both are very important. So, face everything and rise. What is my fear? What is the fear that I am working on right now? Some things are in our control, then we should work on them and get out of that. Certain things are not in our control. We can be only prepared for it if possible. Beyond that, we can't do anything. So if I understand that, then I will face everything and rise. And if I understand the mechanism of fear, I will also be able to prevent things which create fear. Already fear which is there, I should handle it by facing it, gaining knowledge, doing practice, overcome it. Spiritual life means that become more and more fearless. No, I am doing every day one mala of japa. I remember Bhagwan. I am very devoted, but I am very scared. Fear and spirituality don't go together. Spirituality literally will make us fearless because it will help us to be anchored. And Bhagwan is with us, what fear? And it will help us to become more and more detached. Person who is detached is fearless. If I am spiritual, I am very scared. That means I have a lot of attachments. That means I am not walking the spiritual path properly. The Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti didn't happen. Only information I have collected. So fearlessness comes when there is spiritual progress. And the more spiritual progress I achieve, more fearlessness, more spiritual progress. They will complement each other. So I have to understand the mechanism of fear. What is the mechanism of fear? 3 steps. I don't know. What if I can't handle it? These are 3 steps of fear. Fear begins with ignorance. I don't know. Analyze any fear. Suppose somebody has fear of darkness. Why are they scared? Because they don't know what is in that darkness. Somebody has fear of failure. They don't know what is future going to bring and they imagine failure then. Fear of criticism. They think that, oh, people are criticizing me, that means they are thinking bad about me. And what will others think when they listen to this? Now the fear is that I don't know what is in the minds of people, and now when they are criticizing, now I am imagining what they are going to think bad about me. So no fear. Like that, any example of fear. Suppose one says fear of water. Now I don't know how to swim. What will happen if I jump in that? I may drown. I may die. Then fear. So when I don't know, sometimes I don't know a fact, sometimes I don't know a skill, sometimes I don't know how to handle some situation. When I don't know, first step, then mind will play negative game. What if this happens? What if that happens? Like we just said, what if I drown? Or what if people listen to this about me and they start thinking wrong about me? So fear of criticism. What if there is a ghost in that dark room? So fear of darkness. What if there is a cockroach? Fear of darkness. Like that, any fear if you see, there will be I don't know. Then what if this happens? What if I don't become the topper? So I don't know whether I will become a topper or not in the exam that I gave. If I don't become, then I won't get admission in that particular university. Then my plans for my career will not take off. Now what if this happens, what if that happens? The mind goes into anxiety after that. Because it is thinking negative. The negative what if. And the more negative what if it thinks, more it feels incompetent or weak, and then it will say I can't handle it. Then the result will be I want to run. So I don't know. What if this happens? Then I can't handle it. I run. This is the mechanism of fear. And in this only, these 3 steps only, there is a solution. Wherever I can find out, I should gain knowledge first. So ignorance goes. In a dark room, if I'm able to put on the light and I can understand what is there, then there's nothing to fear. Oh, no ghost, no cockroach, nothing is there. Why to fear? Why? Because knowledge I got. Same way, what if, negative what if the mind thinks negatively about projections, first train the mind to think what are the positive possibilities. Not that we should never think of the negative possibility. There is a possibility, but it is not that it has happened. It is only a possibility. And I can then equip myself to think, okay, if this is a possibility, then how will I handle it? But if I think, what if this has happened? Now the mind is thinking it has really happened, and then it is getting anxious. And that negative what if can also happen when I have not done my duty and I have compromised with my duty and I have done something wrong. So I didn't do exercise, so now the sugar is very high. Now this can happen. Brain stroke can happen, obesity, heart attack, this, that, anything can happen. Now psyched. How to handle that? I do what needs to be done. Do proper exercise, eat well, sleep well, be in sense control. So when we do what needs to be done and when we avoid what should not be done, then the mind will be fearless. This negative what if and all will not work. Then the mind is peaceful. And even after doing all that needs to be done, if something happens, it's okay, that's karma, I will face it. That clarity one has. So I don't know, what if this happens? Then I can't handle it. Will go when I actually face it and handle it. Like I don't know how to swim, learn, practice, get out of that fear. Public speaking, learn, practice, get out of that fear. So simple examples like that, you can apply to any of this. Now when we understand this very clearly, then we start working. And finally, the ultimate source of fearlessness is what? Is faith. Detachment is a source of fearlessness. Practice helps us to become fearless. Knowledge I gain, that helps me to become fearless. Doing my duties and not compromising with my duties helps me to become fearless. But the base of all these four is the fifth one, that is bhakti, surrender to Bhagavan. The deepest source of strength is Bhagavan. Devotee who says, I have surrendered to Bhagavan, Bhagavan is there all the time with me and he alone actually is there all the time. Life after life, one who is with me is only Bhagavan. People, money, power, things, situations, they come, they go, they have their own value. We respect them, we appreciate their contribution, but nothing more powerful than Shraddha, Bhakti. Prahlad ji, anchored in devotion. Markandeya, anchored in devotion. Nachiketa, anchored in devotion. So many examples. Hanuman ji, anchored in devotion. People who are fearless are people who have surrendered to Bhagavan, who are humble yet very strong, and who overcome any obstacle. It's not that challenges, problems, obstacles did not come in their life. It came in their life also. But bhakti gave them that strength ki Bhagavan is with us. We will deal with it. So Shraddha and faith is the antidote for fear, especially for things which we don't know. Future is uncertain. And also we don't have control. We try to control many things and then we become scared when things go out of control. But control is one big illusion. I can only do my duty, I can only plan, execute, do to my best. Rest what will happen is dependent on so many factors. So many people's karmas are entwined. So I don't have control. I can only control my response and for that I can do my sadhana. If this clarity is there, then one will anchor in Bhagavan only. Saying that Bhagavan is there with us all the time, he is the karma adhyaksha, karma phaladata, and whatever is happening, I will face it because he is with me. So Abhayam. A devotee also is fearless because the devotee wants to realize oneness with Bhagavan and has become detached from the world. The more I am attached to something, some people, the more fear I will have. Vairagya, Vairagya, Vairagyameva Abhayam. Bhartrihari says, fearlessness, when one has dispassion, when one has detachment, that brings so much of fearlessness. It is not indifference, it is fearlessness. I love people but no attachments. So there is no fear of losing them. One may miss them if they are not there, but there is no fear, there is no depression when they are not broken down. That is balance of love and detachment, and that brings fearlessness. Otherwise one tries to possess, one tries to be controlling, one tries to, be attached. All that will bring fear. And the more I am attached, more fear, and more fear, more attached. Again they will go together. So first quality Bhagavan says is Abhayam. Why he says this as first quality? Because when there is Bhaya, then all the other demonic traits will follow. Because they all are born from attachment. From ignorance, from attachment, from compromise. Fear is born from all these. So Bhagavan says, first divine quality is Abhayam. Identify what are things which are causing you fear, because of which one is compromising with dharma or one is not manifesting potential. Abhayam. Then he says, Sattva Samshuddhihi. The mind has to become pure. Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi. Again, if we measure spiritual life and spiritual progress, it comes because of Sattva Guna and because of purity of mind. Real progress is progress from tamas to rajas to sattva, anchoring in Sattva Guna, anchoring in purity, anchoring in selflessness, love, compassion, contentment, knowledge. The six impurities which are there: kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Selfishness, greed, anger, delusion, intoxication and jealousy. These six, if you see the asuras, rakshasas, they are victims of these six. And the key of all the six is the first one, kama. The moment one comes under the impression, under the control of kama, other five will just land up. Selfishness, to the extent one is selfish, to that extent other things will come: greed, anger, delusion, pride, intoxication, jealousy, all that will come. And you see examples of so many. Hiranyakashipu was so proud and he said nobody should worship Vishnu, and I will in fact kill Vishnu and destroy the temples and destroy the yajnas, yagas, kill the rishis who are doing all that. And his own son Prahlad is chanting Bhagavan's name, fearless. Satyakam goes into the forest alone. The teacher has said, go take these cows into the forest, and when they become 1,000, they multiply to 1,000, you come back. He followed the instruction of the Guru. Guru said, go into the forest, so go. He went alone. Imagine, small boy, took the cows and went, fearless. Why? Prahladji's example, Shraddha is, Bhakti is there for Bhagavan. Doesn't doubt, will Bhagavan really come to protect me? I am being thrown from the mountain top. Will he really protect me? No doubt. He knows Bhagavan will protect. Bhagavan protects. People took him to the pit of snakes, put him there. No fear. There he has Shraddha in Bhagavan. And here Satyakam has Shraddha in the Guru. My Guru said I should go, so I will go. Satyakam Jabala. So we see that when there is purity of mind, anchoring in Bhagwan, selflessness, then the Rakshasas can do anything, Asuras can do anything. That is because of the 6 impurities in their mind. But the devotee who has this purity of mind, has fearlessness, that devotee is not affected. Sometimes the devotee may get scared a bit, but one will again come back to bhakti and anchor in Bhagwan. So, Abhayam, how to cultivate fearlessness we saw. Do the duties, get out of attachments, practice something that I am scared of by learning that skill and doing abhyas, gain the right knowledge, have anchoring in bhakti through daily sadhana. How do I develop purity of mind? By doing seva, selfless service. And by keeping the big picture in mind, saying that we have come here to develop purity of mind. We have not come here to attain money, power, position, wealth, fame. That is only goal in life. And that will remain here. We came here to become more selfless, pure, having enough ability to turn within and be happy, be content. We came here for that. That's our purpose of human birth, to finally get realization. So if somebody understands this very clearly, then purity of mind is the focus. Why should I compromise? What is going to come with me is my mind. Money, power, position will remain here. What will come with me is my mind only. If I am born on this earth, have I grown more purer in my mind and left the earth, or did I become more impure, fall? Then I misuse the opportunity of human life. So if I know that this is my purpose, to become purer, to realize the self. Self is there right now in our heart. Why are we not able to experience? Because the impurity is covering it, that's all. It is not to be produced from somewhere. It is there right now, our nature. Aham, 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 every minute is there in our heart, but we are not focusing on it. The difference between a saint and somebody else who has not realized the truth is the saint has turned within and realized, this is my Swarupa. The other person has not yet turned inside, is looking outside still. And still fighting, compromising, doing all kinds of things, where the mind will be only disturbed, mind is thinking worldly things, more of attachments, and pull down. So if I know this, ki sattva samshuddhi, this purity of mind is my purpose. How to develop more and more purity of mind? Earlier also we have discussed 10 factors. If you make them into sattvic, life will become sattvic. I will share once again that chart. One shloka from the Hamsa Gita gives this: Agama apa praja desha kala karma janma dhyanam mantra samskara. If you transform these 10, dashaite guna hetava, if you transform these 10 to sattva guna, the life will become sattvic, purity of mind will come. Agama is what I read, what inputs I take. Apa is what I eat and drink. Praja is the company I keep. Desha, the places I visit. Kala, the time, how I utilize time. Karma, what type of actions I am doing. Janma, what type of initiations people get me into. Somebody initiates me into tamasic, rajasic, sattvic, which activity? Kala, karma cha, janma cha. Dhyanam, what is my focus on? What do I want to achieve? Mantra, what is my mission statement? What do I repeat to myself? Samskara, what are the impressions that I am collecting through whatever I am doing? These 10, if I make them into sattvic, mind will become purified. Even a few of these I start with, mind will become purified. So, abhayam, sattva samshuddhi, jnana yoga vyavasthiti. Abidance in what I learn and application of that. Gurudev always used to say, knowing is not doing. Doing is doing. Of course, in a context, in Vedant, there is no distinction between knowing and doing. Knowing only is everything. But that is when the mind is pure, one will know I am Brahman, then job is done. At a simpler level, knowing and doing, we have to integrate. Right now, there is no integration between knowing and doing, and that's what has to get integrated. That is this Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. What is the Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti? Suppose I am convinced to live by my intellectual convictions at the action level without compromise is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Gurudev used to call this as Satyam, being intellectually honest to oneself and living by one's conviction. If I am convinced that I don't need alcohol, don't touch it. No, pina padta hai. What pina padta hai? Drink water. That look like vodka, don't worry. Let people and just sip. Tell people, very nice. Drink some juice. What will happen maximum? Other day I was seeing somewhere on Instagram, there is a drink called sober now. Non-alcoholic. But it will taste like that only. And you prepare it like that only with whatever is put in that and put some lemon and this and that and then people drink. Young people today are choosing sobriety, which is a good thing now. They don't want to get sloshed and then just, no. They are choosing not to fall for it. That is called Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Understood harmful effect of it, don't want to fall for it. Live by a conviction. No need. Same way other things. If I am convinced that I should learn to be selfless, then I will be selfless uncompromisingly. If I know that yes, I should choose one Ishtadevata. So many forms of Bhagwan are there. All are representing one truth, no doubt, but I need one form to make my mind focused. So of all the forms available, I choose this is my Ishtadevata and then regularly do the Upasana. No compromise in that. Then that is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. In Vedantic level, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti means to contemplate steadily, I am Brahman, I am not the body, mind, intellect, and to live by that knowledge. Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. The gap between who I am and what I want to be should be bridged. That is effort is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. I can keep aspiring to become better and better, no doubt. But the gap should become lesser and lesser. From this level, I bring myself to this level, gap done. Now I aspire to come to this, again gap closed. That way I keep moving. And having lifted once, should not fall back. Especially higher one goes, the fall will be painful. Again one has to climb that much more. So, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. One should identify what are my convictions which I am convinced by, but I am not living. Why I am not living? Somewhere some attachment will be there. I know I should get up and do exercise, but I won't get up. Why? Because some attachment to work, so I am working till late in the night, now I am not able to get up and do exercise. Some attachment to browsing, phone, watching some series. So I know that I should prioritize sleep but not able to prioritize. Now that I have to find out. Like this, what are the attachments because of which I am compromising, and then drop. That's how one will become more and more divine. This divinity is hard work. It's not that somebody is just touching you and you will become divine. Nothing will happen. I have to put in that hard work, identify, lift myself by myself. Nobody else is going to do. So more of this we continue in our next class. So from this session onwards, we are going to do little difference. We will thank all the Yajmans, Mukhya Yajmans, Daily Yajmans, Aarti Yajmans, and Dainik Aarti Yajmans. Everybody, generally, the contribution helps to continue these classes and support the activities of Chinmay Mission. So we invoke Bhagwan's grace, Gurudev's blessings on all the Yajmans, and we will do the Aarti and then Q&A. I am not taking each person's name. Every session we will pray for the well-being of everybody. So Gita Aarti we will do, and then we will have any questions. If you have, we will take that up.
ॐ जय भगवद्गीते मैया जय भगवद्गीते हरिया कमल विहारिणि सुन्दर सुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनि कामासक्तिहरा तत्त्वज्ञान विकाशिनि विद्या ब्रह्मपरा ॐ जय भगवद्गीते निश्चल भक्ति विधायिनि निर्मल मलहारिणि शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनि सब विधि सुखकारी ॐ जय भगवद्गीते रागद्वेष विदारिणि कारिणि मोद सदा भवभयहारिणि तारिणि परमानन्दप्रदा ॐ जय भगवद्गीते आसुरभाव विनाशिनि नाशिनि तमरजनि दैवी सद्गुणदायिनि हरिरसिका सजनी ॐ जय भगवद्गीते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरिमुख की बानी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ॐ जय भगवद्गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय हरि पर प्रेम दान कर अपनों कर लीजय ॐ जय भगवद्गीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते मैया जय भगवद्गीते हरिया कमल विहारिणि सुन्दर सुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते बोलिए गीता मैया की जय
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Yes, Karan.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yeah.
Swamiji, on this first value of fearlessness, very often, in fact, it's very common in life that somebody has chosen a path, let's say, perhaps, let's say, of a career or of a vocation or a work, and is experiencing fear along the way, obviously, sometimes. But at the same time, one is surrounded by one's well-wishers who are, giving a lot of practical and logical reasons as to why you should not pursue it. And therefore, one's fear gets compounded, if one can say that. And under that influence, one eventually makes the wrong decision, which then inhibits the person's expression of one's swadharma, let's say, for example. So, and these people can be your parents very often, who want to protect you from making a mistake. And while you may be willing to accept a failure, they are not willing to accept a failure. So, how does one practically deal with these situations? Because they are involving the people you're the closest to also.
Yeah, so communication helps a lot, and one should be able to explain to them. If one is able to settle their fears, great. If one is able to show them why one wants to do this, what is the conviction that one has, if they are able to understand, great. But if one is convinced by it and one feels that this is the path I have to go by, one has to go by that path. If that is one's strength and conviction, one has to go by that path, making it clear to them that it is not that I want to disrespect what you are saying. I don't want to do it as something opposed to what you are saying, but this is my conviction and I want to choose and I am ready to face the consequence. If after that they still take it personally, that is their choice and we can't take any blame for it, nor should one feel guilty for it. Because finally it is one's own life, one's journey, that one has to be able to make the choice rather than live in regret. And if one has made a choice already and there is a possibility of shifting to really whatever one wanted to do, even now one can try and do that. At least that feeling will be clear that I did what I wanted to do, and whatever consequences, positive, negative, success, failure, I'm handling that. In a non-confrontational way, polite way, expressing conviction is what I can think of. Um,
But very often on the path of, when we are overcoming our fears, we ourselves are not fully convinced yet that this is the right decision because we are in the process of still growing.
yeah, so
So
conviction one has to grow in. Na?
the conviction comes also as you get more confident along the way and your skills improve. So
Yeah, so that is one conviction that comes when you start walking the path. But why I want to walk the path, that conviction should be there. If I can't convince somebody else, that is a different point, but at least my thought process must be clear. Ki, why am I doing this? Is it under some emotional pressure? Is it just because I want to do it? What? Why? What is the need? Why this path I have to choose? Is it my temperament, my swadharma? I have a liking for it. Whatever may be my conviction, I have to think more on it, become more and more convinced. Then there will be steadiness also on the path, and there will be the strength to overcome obstacles also. Otherwise, little obstacles come, one will give up.
right.
That conviction I have to grow in, at least before I start walking the path, and then as I walk, it will become more and more stronger, no doubt. But if I don't have that conviction, then I need to work on that.
As you said, a strong intellectual conviction needs to exist before you embark on it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Hariom Swamiji, I had a similar question, but little different. If you are convinced and you are walking the path, and in that path you face like say every time you fail, say about 10 times, and you meet wrong people, or sometimes it's just a situation that happens that your work does not happen, and when something happens and you till that time you have already crashed, like 10 situations you have failed, and 11th one then the thing that comes up before that it starts building up, that you start self doubting that abhi ye mere se hoga ki nahi, and you eventually end up not doing because that pressure is already built up on you, and now you're already depressed and anxious and you are completely of self doubt and you don't know how to lift yourself. So in that situation, when you want to start again something new, how do we do that? That's my question.
See, one is the conviction that why I need to do, even if I fail 10 times, if my conviction is stronger that this is the reason why I need to do, so it is worth trying 11th time, I need to work on that conviction. 2. 10 times I fallen, what mistakes did I make? I learned from it, and did I improve my performance? And each time did I make the same mistake and fall? No. If I made, then I need to correct that. If I didn't, then each time whatever was the reasoning, I learn so that my 11th performance is different. So lessons I will definitely have to learn, do my introspection, maybe even consult people, speak to them, help them, take their help to process so that one learns proper lessons out of it. And third, how much do you love that goal? One is intellectual conviction, one is the love for that goal. Why do I want that goal? What is the emotional charge for it that is pushing me to achieve that even the 11th time? That energy and enthusiasm, the love for that goal will give me that strength to walk the path. Fear will overcome when I invoke more love, that why I love that goal. What is important for me intellectually, financially, emotionally, whatever ways. Why do I love it? If I am convinced of that bhav, that when I achieve this, this will be worth it, then I will not have the fear. Even if fear is there, I will still get up. I will not allow those fears to paralyze my action, because the driving factor is love. What did Bhagavan Krishna do to Arjun? Brought in him the clarity of knowledge, love for the higher, made him understand why dharma is so important, and he put aside his all the doubts that Arjun had. He clarified so that Arjun got clear intellectually on one hand, and emotionally he got anchored in bhakti, in Bhagavan, in the love for dharma. That's it. Then he was ready to face, not that he didn't get obstacles on the way. He still didn't fight properly with Bhishma, and Bhagavan got angry at that point in time, lifted the wheel of the chariot. But why did Arjun start fighting when he was not ready to fight? Because clarity and emotion both got integrated, then action, it happened. So that's what I need. How to practice fearlessness, I told in my talk already. Be detached, do the duties, stop negative thinking, have Shraddha in Bhagavan, identify what are the fears and work on it. So, abhyas, learn the skill, many things we spoke. How is dharma defined? Dharma is defined by Shastra only. The 16th chapter, it will come in the end. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitahu. Scriptures tell us what is right and what is wrong. And universal values, our stage of life, our role in life, our temperament, all that helps to determine what is dharma. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, so that Kshatriya Swabhava of his determines that he should fight to protect righteousness. He is a soldier, so that role defines that yes, he has to protect dharma. His stage of life, he is a Grahasthi, that will determine what is dharma for him. So stage of life, role in life, temperament, maximum good of people, all this helps to determine dharma, and all this clarity comes from studying the Shastra. Right. So we stop here. People may define dharma as religion, that is their limitation. We can't go by that. The English language anyway has limitation of words, and people generally define everything as per whatever they want. We have to go by our scripture, what the Shastra is saying. Dharma literally means that which upholds everything. It doesn't mean religion only. Last question for today, Aparna ji.
It was by mistake, Swamiji. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om